Hey, let's talk the Xfinity series at New Hampshire. We are finally back to normal this weekend. Wanted to just quickly apologize for not getting anything out last weekend. Schedules got a little bit busy. Weren't able to do a preview video. Wasn't able to do a picks video, and wasn't even able to get the spreadsheet out on Twitter. So if we were MIA, if you were wondering where the heck we were at, just life got busy, got pulled in some different directions. So things should be back to normal this weekend. We got two preview videos up, one for Xfinity, one for Cup. We'll get two picks videos out later this week after practice and qualifying are complete for both the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. And like I said, we'll get those spreadsheets out and post them up on Twitter. But this video is mainly just going over the race preview and initial thoughts for the Xfinity Series slate. So it's a 200 lap race. We're at the Magic Mile. It's a 1 mile short flat track. When it comes to the Dominator points, we have 50 points available for laps led and 90 points available for fast laps. When it comes to trying to figure out who might be a good play, who might not be a good play, what are we going to look at? It really is going to focus again on, let's look at the data this weekend. Let's dive into that practice data. Let's dive into where they're qualifying. From there, I really want to then go to, let's look at maybe the short flat tracks so far this year. I think for the Xfinity series, that's been Richmond, Martinsville, Phoenix. And let's also, potentially look at how some of these drivers performed in past New Hampshire races. Just keep in mind, if it is a pass race, be mindful of, what type of equipment they were in, if their stats look really good or, really bad one way or the other compared to some of the other data points that you're looking at. Looking at the colors here, all the drivers in green, I think, are your top tier, tier one target type of dominators, drivers who can pick up fast laps, probably the best chance to win the race. It's going to be Byron, Gibbs, Gregson, Allgaier, and Barry. Again, depending on how practice and qualifying goes, but you probably want two of these drivers in your lineup. Drivers in yellow are going to be option, B, maybe pivots, secondary interest types of drivers that, could I see Allmendinger, Bain, Mayer, Jones getting out front leading laps? Yeah, I could. But most likely, I think it's going to be the JRM cars of Gregson, Allgaier, Barry, and I guess Byron, is in a JRM car this weekend, and then Gibbs. I think those are the guys you should feel most confident in, try to build it around, and maybe you can start to do some research before the weekend of, wow, looks like Allgaier is really good at these types of tracks, or wow, Barry's really popping off for me this weekend, and then see how that backs up with how they do in practice and qualifying. From there, I think there's a pretty big gap, from Jones down to, really the entire 8K range. I have a hard time seeing Allmendinger, Bain, Mayer, and Jones getting up to the front, but I think it's much more likely and possible than a Hammerkill, Castle, Herbst, Creed, or Moffitt getting up to the front, or, potentially picking up fast laps. Basically, anyone in the 9K range up, I think, has the skill set, the equipment, the ability to earn you Dominator points. Once you get under that, I just think it's going to be pretty hard. And if you are plugging in one of those drivers, you're potentially sacrificing the Dominator points that are available by paying up. So usually when it comes to Xfinity, it's kind of a stars and scrubs, type of approach that we take, looking at some potential who those, value plays might be. One driver that I like a lot that I think is mispriced is going to be Ty Dillon. He is a, Cup driver, Cup Series talent, driver, and he's hopping into the Xfinity Series. He was in the JDM 6 car for Road America, I believe, and ran into, I think it was mechanical problems, or I forget what it was. But he's in better equipment this weekend, and he's priced only at $7,800. So he looks like a good value play you can get in your lines. If you don't like going there, I think Sieg's a fine option. I don't have him highlighted. Brown, Burton, any of those. I think you're going to need at least one, maybe two 7K drivers, depending on how your lineup is shaping out. And then maybe trying to get a 6K driver in there. Initially, I really like Alex LeBay, maybe Mason Massey as another potential option. I'll get some of these guys highlighted real quickly so you can see them. And then once you get down to this bottom range, usually when it comes to punts, I just try to find the punt play that gives me either the most upside in terms of finishing potential, or just a driver who I think can give me a lot of place differential points, who starts pretty deep in the field, who more or less can't really hurt my line if he has an issue. So initially it's hard to say without looking at practice and qualifying, like, oh, I really like this guy versus another one. But one driver I am interested to see how he does in practice is going to be Howie DiSavino the third down there. He's in the Alpha Prime 44 machine. We know this car is fast. We know it has good speed, relatively speaking to the drivers he's priced around. And at $4,700, I mean, that's pretty cheap. He's pretty easy, allows you to fit some of those top plays that we were talking about. So initially, I think DraftKings did a good job. I think, when it's practice and qualifying will really help us determine, what of the top range, what drivers we really want to go to and what ones we potentially might want to, come a little bit under on, or who some potential other plays might be. So that'll do it for the preview video. We'll get another picks video out later this week, and we'll get the spreadsheets up posted on Twitter as well. But thanks for hanging out, and catch you on the next one.